All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So the goal is to cover three on this one. We'll look at MBOT as you see here, RR after that, and then DJT at the end. It was a kind of robotics thing, but then I turned into a viewer request at the end. So interesting day, really, I would say on all three of them right here. MBOT with a really strong start to the day. Looking at the hour, right, you can see it just pretty much goes, right? I guess after the bell, right? But yeah, big hour, lost a lot of it right near the end, right there, right? I don't think I saw any news that really justified it, but you get a pretty interesting doji on what looks like multiple attempts, right? I often say my lines aren't here for perfect, right? I think you can almost lower that a bit, and I'll talk about this candle a lot right here actually as well on MBOT. But I know the percentage looks small, especially when I look at the next one, right? But that's a pretty loud candle to me right there, and excited to talk about that one right there. I've also kind of, said it a couple times and I'll say it again. This one holds just a little bit of an extra. I try to do my best to like make all these tickers like random and meaningless and, just random 3 to 5 letters, right? I have a little special place in my heart for robotic surgery. Like my dad actually had a robot do for real surgery on him. Like he never saw the doctor. He saw the nurse. He saw the person that put him down, that gave him the anesthesia. The doctor, we joke about it, for all we know, was at his house or her house, whatever, in some underwear on the couch using a joystick and cutting him up, patching him up, and sending him out the door with a bill. You know what I mean? So it's cool technology. I love tech especially, but add medical tech to it and then just what I know about how it works and stuff, it's a pretty cool thing. Again, I'm here to let the lines say a lot more than my opinions about these four little letters right here, but medical surgery done by robots just sounds better than even the best Oxford graduate at the top of the class, right? So little bit of a dumb tangent, I realize that, sorry, but hey. Looking at RR, I know that looks like a small candle, but look at that. It's a very, very big 20% gain. There was actually some news on it too. I think what I saw was they're opening a robotic cafe in Las Vegas. I'm not exact. I didn't read the article. I'll tell you that. I think I saw some random headline that said something about a tea thing or something. I don't know. Let me know if you actually saw the headline. But hey, that's an interesting candle putting us back over the moving averages. You can see we actually never even got to the 50. Interesting little volume pop too after a very, very long 2 week low, right? So it wasn't that long ago. RR made a good little move right there, and I think this one's worth some eyes. And then DJT again doesn't look like a big percent, but that's actually a pretty big candle right here. There was also something shared in the Discord. I didn't really. There was some news right here. It had something to do with a new investment arm, and I saw another comment about it relating to Charles Schwab and this and that. Look, again, there's a lot of real cool details on so many different stocks that we talk about on the Discord, right? But it looked like there was a little bit of news drawing this candle. What I see and what I'm going to talk about is a big 100 moving average bounce, and really what was a long struggle with that 50 volume line. All of a sudden we're starting to challenge it as it comes down. Hopefully that can start turning into beating it, right? Throw a little moving average break on that, and hey, lovely things can happen, right? So really, like I said, I think there's some exciting things going on really on each of these. I know it's not quite a single sector review, but it's funny, they're either important candles but look small, or they're big percentages but look other way around. I messed up the word, and you get what I'm trying to say, all right? Before we do any further, though, and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it. All right, so let's get into MBOT. And we started talking about MBOT 2 days ago. I don't know exactly if there was news. There's obviously a bunch of stuff today. We'll talk about some of the lines up. Um, Yesterday, right here, was there news? What was the? Maybe it was this. Let's see if there was any headline. Nope, just attention and eyes is really all it was. But yeah, this Monday candle, Tuesday candle. Wow, the days have been so long. So this Tuesday candle was an interesting one. All right, and I've kind of been saying this on the last few videos. All right, I don't have just red and green candles. There are actually four unique candles you can get, right? You can get red filled in, red outlined, green outlined, and then there's the green filled in, right? I'm sure there's big ones, small ones, you get it, right? There is more than just good and bad. There is, all right? And look, this is obviously a red candle. Did significantly worse, a little bit worse. Regardless, it did worse than the one before it, right? But hey, let's look at the Monday information right there. You look at the open and you see it's actually down here. It opens at 170 and then goes up to 180. Roughly speaking, more people made about 5% that day than they lost that 1.63 that you see at the top when I click on it, right? So, hey, yeah, it was for sure a bad candle, but it was actually kind of a good bad candle, right? So sometimes those can tip things off. Hey, obviously, you can see the difference. That one's a doji and this and that, right? But yeah, obviously, like nothing's set in stone, right? Like these are just setting expectations and trying to attack correctly or very quickly adjust if wrong, right? But that's an interesting bad. That's a good bad in my eyes. And then that was a nice little Tuesday right there. We've been dancing with, and I think you can arguably say losing the 8 and the 20. All of a sudden, boom, we get there's a new cat outside. Oh man, there's a lot of alley cats outside, and they come here. We feed them. We're silly people like that. Nonetheless, like I said, we're losing the 8 and the 20. All of a sudden, interesting little candle, big doji after it. Look, I always respect the doji. The doji is so 50-50. You can also say that this is a doji itself, and man, I will say two things. Number one, I'm coming into the hourly chart right now, right? I saw today look like it was gonna do really well. All right. I'm a little surprised we saw that big a drop on that hourly candle right there. I don't think I saw any news or headlines. Obviously still holding the MAs and this and that. I'm not here to talk about the shorter time frames, right? But I'm surprised it came back down as much as it did. But one thing I said, and it was earlier today. Oh, it should have been on this. Boom. This is what I was looking for. I said this roughly 45 minutes before the close, all right? I need it to close at least at 215 or higher. It's definitely more of a doji than I expected, like I just said minutes ago, right? Why was I looking for that? So this right here, this candle on January 3rd closes at $2.14. My request was to just get over it by a penny or more. All right. If we can do that, hey, I can at least say, I can add cottonmouth right now. My apologies. I can at least say, hey, we're over the biggest candle to the left. Look, it's still a doji. I don't want to make it seem like it's a more positive doji. I always give a doji a 50-50 respect that it deserves, right? Especially when it's back to back. You rarely see like two back to back, let alone three back to back. You know what I mean? So I like that we're trending well, but I'm still not sure if we're on the better side, the worse side, or just kind of riding that horizontal cluster right there, right? So the goal really is though, hey, we're over biggest candle to the left. We're doing our best to stay over all five. Let's start to take out this 223. I want to zoom out real quick. Man, look at that. So look, the last time we were over 223 was right here. right? I'm not looking at this. This was us trying to, and I'll talk about that shortly. But 223, the last time we were over it was June 2023, right? That's about a year and a half. Yeah, year and a half, right? Look at that. That's a difficult line. That's a no joke line. Look, obviously I see that right there, but those are just little single anomalies of random dojis that I don't think count. That was the last good like go and continue, right? So it's been a year and a half. We've tested it, kind of. This is the best continual test since right here, right? Like that's just a single nothing. That's just a single nothing. I'm liking the attack right now, right? So it's all about that line. Get me over it. You can see the next one's up. What were his numbers? 234, 254, 284. Yeah, he has one extra one. I'm going to call that one the 250 something. Again, you know my lines aren't here for perfect. What was his last one? 330. Mine was 320. Again, it's not about whose lines are better. It's not about that. It's just setting expectations and watching it climb, right? But you can see it. Sorry to zoom in and out so much. You know I don't like doing that, right? But there is a lot of red, 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 green, 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 red, 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 and just nothing, 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 right? I don't want you to start thinking $5 and $4. Like this is still a $2 stock, right? But hey, I think the goal of like let's get into the high twos, maybe even the low threes. That's a decent goal. And hey, if we can go from the two somethings to the three somethings, that's some significant percentage right there, right? I think the last thing to talk about is down here. I think the first one is going to be volume. All right. Look, those are obviously two big outlier volumes that I would love to get one more time. All right. But I'm going to take those out. All right. And we're just going to zoom into right here. You can see basically nothingness when comparing it to the average, right? This white line right here. My all I'm asking you to do is at least be the average volume number. I'm not asking you to be the B plus student, the A minus, or the honor kid, right? Like be the average, right? We are struggling to just get there, let alone beat it well consistently, right? So Monday did a nice candle, like I said up here, without even hitting it. Today was an interesting doji and at least had some interesting volume. I think let's go a little higher. I want to be at 7 million shares. I think if MBOT can get 7 million shares, I think that's going to be a real goal. That's basically 1 million shares in a 7 hour trading day, right? Looking at the weekly, hey, this isn't a bad weekly right here, all right? We have been trying to, and I say trying to, despite the fact that we've been over it for at least an entire month, right? But I still say trying, and I'll get back to it. We're trying, I still have to zoom out. We're trying to get over 100 moving average line that the last time we were nice, I would even go back to this candle. January, February, March 2021 was the last good time we were over that candle right there, right? So, sorry, over that 100 moving average line, right? So we're trying, can't confirm, trying, can't confirm, trying. Let's see if next week can be that confirmation that we're actually looking for, right? So this thing is setting up pretty well. We do still need a little bit more. Hey, RSI is at a healthy 63. MACD is still positive. Hopefully we'll get that green over red, and hopefully all that can build into that nice next week move that we're looking for, right? So, cool. I think that was a decent review of that. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into RR real quick. And you know what? I want to grab my phone and just look at the headline as quickly as I can, real quick. My apologies. What I think I saw was it's a Clouffe. It's spelled Clouffeent. So I don't really know what that means. It sounds like it's a fancy coffee and tea. I don't know, whatever, right? But they are opening what sounds like a robot store in Las Vegas. And hey, I'll tell you, I like that. All right. I remember buying some silly weed stocks back in the day, and there was a company called Planet 13. I don't know if you're familiar with the sector or not, but their strategy was let's make a big flagship store in Vegas because there's so much tourism and everything in Vegas. And hey, people will come, people will know our name, and hey, hopefully that carries into other states when they go back home, right? I think that's an interesting play with RR, all right? And again, it's a cool role. I don't go to Vegas a lot. I like to gamble in the market instead of watching the roulette ball. I feel like I'm a little more in control here. But hey, a lot of people go to Vegas. I'm sure I'll find myself in Vegas in the next 3 years, give or take, hopefully sooner maybe. And I'd go to the Robot Cafe. That sounds kind of cool, actually. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting demonstration of their technology, right? Do I think they're trying to become the next Starbucks? No, I don't. Would it be crazy if something like that happened and all of a sudden they're an important name in the beverage and coffee space? That would be. What I think this is a showcase of the technology, right? I think they want to show that, hey, we can take an influx of customers, give everyone their coffee, watch them exit the store and smile. Imagine if we do that at Walmart, at Target, at Dick's Sporting Goods, at literally doesn't matter, and like that's what I see them trying to do, right? So I think it's a cool little thing. Hey, obviously I'm not a fundamental dude, right? I'm here to talk about lines and stuff, but I always say I'm not here to say technical analysis is better. I think when you get that good mix of technicals and fundamental, add a little volume to that thing, oh, there you go, right? So fundamental, I'll give a little check mark. I like the story. Let's see if the market does too. Technicals aren't looking bad here, all right? I feel like I was saying it with some of the quantum stocks, but look, there is enough green, 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 green for this to have red, 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 red pretty hard and back. I've seen it. I've seen what looks like crazy runs that should have sustained just, you know what I mean, go right back, if not worse, to where they were, right? So, it's interesting to see these hold. We're seeing it do, I think, in a lot of ways, the same thing I was saying with MBOT, but just not as pretty. This thing was struggling and trying to stay with and still trying to break the 8 and 20 moving average. RR tries to bounce, goes a little under, comes back, right? And we're back to that same little can we battle and break, right? I obviously like that we got over the 20 moving average. I would have liked it to have been just a little bit stronger, but hey, that's a good, decent start, right? We need confirmation. We need a little bit more. I'm imagining, let's call it that. I think it's that. 318. I think 318 is what I would call. I think between $3 and 318. Again, different risk reward tolerances, right? I think if you can make me believe that we've taken that out, that'll make me believe that we've confirmed the line. And hey, I think 477, green, 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 red, 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 green, 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 red, red, red. There's a good shot for that, right? And let me just zoom out. Let me just zoom out. That's an important line right there. That's an IPO line, right? That's basically where we started. Not all-time highs. There's definitely some more lines I'll draw up there, right? But yeah, RR has a nice little interesting, at the bare minimum, hey, it's still holding that 50 well. And I said in the opening thoughts, technically, we've never even used it. We came close to it, but hey, lo and behold, we're right there, right? So, um, how important is that 208 line? It's the gap fill line. I'm going to delete this line. I'll keep this one. Again, I think it's good to delete lines. It just keeps things cleaner and stuff. And hey, you always hear me say it. I respect the moving averages more than my little clicks, right? MACD was good. We don't like red over green, but I will say for the sharpness of that drop, you can maybe say we saw it a little bit right there. That's not too shabby. We actually were uptrending during some of the fall. And then the worst of it wasn't that horrible. And like I said, we didn't even need to use the moving average. MACD actually never falls back to negative. Just give me a little confirmation and hey, that'll go back, that'll go back. They're still both red over green. I don't really want to see that, but hey, that's a low 40 RSI that if it curls back up, it'll go back to 70, give or take, right? Just my guess. And hey, again, you curl back up, you might go back up a little bit and continue onward, right? So, there's some interesting things. I think the last thing I'll call out is look. Actually, let's just zoom out all the way and show it. This has been the longest climb in volume average. So let me zoom in and show you what that means to me. So we had a little bit of a climb right there, and then basically that line stays flat and eventually drops. We have been escalating that line, and it still is sloping up and continuing to go, right? Like there is still more and more volume coming. Obviously, it was starting to fade, and hey, we might have started a horizontal out, but if we can kind of continue that little trend of volume right there, I think some important things will happen with volume. I think that'll give us a shot at breaking that IPO line. Maybe the immediate line might be a little closer to 414, but I think I'd respect that 477 just a little bit more right there. Where's the weekly at? Look, the weekly is at least holding the 8 moving average, right? That is technically under it. Looks like we're coming back to it. Hopefully we can actually close over it. I think at the minimum, if we can just stay over 270-ish, let me believe that like right now, we're closing what, 80% better than last week's candle. We've regained most of it, right? Just stay around there, and I think that alone would make me pretty optimistic. I think that's a pretty important technical line right there, that 288 too. So we're knocking on some important technical things on the weekly. Look, it was just a crazy high 80 something, 90 something, comes back down to a healthy 60 something, could be ready to go back up too, right? So cool, nice. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Even if you disagree, let's do the last one, which was DJT. All right. So, again, I didn't really look at it much. I'll show it again just in case you want to look at it yourself. So, there was an article, and hey, I think that's at least a decent publication, right? It's not like it was like a pro Trump thing or anything like that, right? But it looks like Trump media did something. Um, I don't know if there were more comments on it or not, but there's at least there were more discussions on it here. I know they mentioned SCH Schwab. How do you spell Schwab like that? Look, the Trump thing, like again, I know there was more conversations about it, right? So it looks like it's some sort of ETF. I have no idea. I really don't. But hey, there was some headline behind it. What I think is the bigger thing here is the technicals, all right? So we were on the brink. So I'm zooming out to just, nah, I don't really need, we can just look at it from right here. Look, this 100 has been a pretty friendly line, right? We got over it. We use it to bounce. We use it to bounce. We use it to bounce. Can we use it one more time, right? To me, I've always said a line generally has about 5 to 6 hits, maybe 4 to 5, something like that, right? But there's only so many times you can use a line. What I would really love, though, is if we can use the line as well as take advantage of the volume average. All right. So, what we're seeing here was this crazy spike of volume that quickly dropped and just stayed down here, right? Pump and dump, right? So, what happens is, I'm zooming in right here. One more back? No, right here. With that, all of a sudden you're never even remotely coming near that 50-day line for what ends up being a little more than a month and a half, right? I'm surprised it's actually going up in that, let alone that it just stayed relatively flat right there. That's actually pretty hard to do, right? The good thing now is the line is coming down, coming down, coming down, basically at where these candles are, right? We were actually able to hit this line today not that long ago. So, sorry, this thing's a little lagging. Come on, baby. If we can get that to our advantage and start getting good volume comparatively, hopefully that takes us over the moving averages and onward up. Look, even in this frozen view right here, get me at around 35. I think the safer line might be a little closer to 36. I think somewhere in that dollar range is what we're looking for. But yeah, you break that. My next line is 52 because it is just green, 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 red, 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 green, green, red, red, nothing, 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 green, green, red, red, nothing, right? Like it could be a very, very fast move right there. Maybe there's a line worth drawing right there at 42. That said, I think that I'll probably just draw that one. But I think that 52 just seems a little more realistic, right? So again, I think between 35 and 36, there's a decent shot at 43. The one thing I gotta say though is, look, sorry I keep zooming in so much. We're now building a cluster of all five lines. You can see when there was four of them, we were just going up and down, up and down, up and down. You know what I mean? Like that's what happens when there's too much. You very often get shot up and come back down. Hey, maybe you can take advantage for that shot up and come back, but you really are going to want to see some extra signs, for lack of words. I think significant volume average breaking is an important sign. Looks like MACD and RSI might curl back up and this and that, but I actually think I care a little less about these two and more volume breaking the average line and us getting over 35 and 36. I think the proper combination of those two will really dictate if we can actually go to 43 or if all the moving averages are just going to suck us right back in like the tornado it really is. You know what I mean? So, to the headline, I'll say this. I didn't really read it too much. I feel like I've said that 4 or 5 times. I don't necessarily want to underplay it, and for all I know, it's a really, really big and really, really important headline. If you have better educated thoughts, please put them in the comments. I just thought I'd be wasting time kind of saying things, right? I think I'm a little surprised this hasn't done extremely better. You can basically say since the election it's been completely flat, right? So I am surprised the loudest stock with Trump's name is flat. I think the issue really, really is we were almost at 20 million shares not that long ago. Sorry, 200 million shares per day not that long ago. And we're struggling to even get 20 million, which is a 90% loss, right? So I think we need to forget about these days, reestablish volume victory, and then, hey, the Trump name should kind of do the rest from there. You know what I mean? So not yet, but we're looking for it, and it's getting close, I think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.